Alright, you know what time it is. It's time for a reaction video for the two of you who actually watch my channel. I did set up an Instagram account, so if you want, go and follow me at official Real Talk 100. You can follow me over there. You can contact me there, whatever you want to do. So yeah, let's get into this. We got a 16-year-old on steroids experiencing hair loss, so should be kind of interesting here. Let's start this one over.
Judging by the rapid transformation that he's had, he's not doing this lightly. This isn't a small dose. This isn't just a light little sprinkle of steroid. We're seeing it now, and the kid's 16 years old.
Disclaimer, this video is educational and informative in nature. Do not contact anyone shown in this video. Also, this video is discussing steroids.
Do not use steroids.
This is entirely for educational and entertainment purposes only.
At 16 years old, your natural testosterone output is insane. It is better than it will ever be for the rest of your life. I just don't understand this. I mean, at 16, your body is literally like a pharmaceutical fucking factory producing tons of serum testosterone that you really should not alter. And now you're 16 with 1.4 million followers telling everybody.
Low-key, I kind of feel like my testosterone's going up as I get older. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I have some weird thing going on, but like my test is like still high as fuck, and I'm 34.
That you're here to inspire, but you're literally just blasting testosterone in front of everybody's face, permanently dismantling a system that works perfectly fine. Eric English is gone down a route that I would have never expected from his intros into fitness. And honestly, it's one of the more alarming things that we've ever covered, because it's induced by a system in fitness where a brand sponsors you and they want you to look a specific way, and so you have to commit to that specific way. And he even said this himself, that he's been groomed by Young LA in a clip that we caught earlier on another video we did.
How are you going to say I hopped out for it and then I got groomed?
You pulled back.
Like, they're throwing random facts in there that aren't true. Like,
what are they saying? You got groomed?
yeah. And he said I was,
Oh, no, you're still strong. I can feel it in your hands. Pull through my
They're
hand
all
like
saying
that.
like they're blaming Young LA for sponsoring you and like putting you on a pedestal and shit.
There you go.
But bro,
if I wasn't on Young LA.
yeah.
That's weird.
2 years ago.
Yeah, this has been going on for a while though. People who've been following fitness since like the OG days, like you guys remember Gymshark, right? I don't know if they're still relevant, but they're a clothing company. Obviously they sell gym clothes. Basically their whole system was, you know, they find kids in their mid-teens, late teens, early 20s, and they scoop them up, you know. They find guys who have like good-looking faces, scoop them up, put them on a bunch of steroids, and then have them wear their clothing and then profit, right? So I don't know Young LA. I've never heard of Young LA. I'm not cool. I'm not, you know, I'm 34. I'm an ancient relic, so I'm not like cool, you know, I'm just a worthless millennial. But back in the day, the exact same thing was going on with Gymshark and other brands too, but that was like the main brand, you know. It was just a bunch of young guys on steroids, on like low dose test and Anavar. They didn't have like a huge amount of muscle on their frame, but you know, they just had that aesthetic look, but a particular look that you can only get with steroid use.
Ago, Eric English was exactly what this space needed and almost never gets. A genuinely good-looking teenager who is lifting weights and talking about his journey. May I remind you, completely natural. He hit millions of followers by being about his genuinely good-looking teenager who is needed.
Oh, yeah.
That's weird.
2 years ago, Eric English was exactly what this space needed and almost never gets. A genuinely good-looking teenager who is lifting weights and talking about his journey. May I remind you, completely natural. He hit millions of followers by being a very...
Was that like ironic? Was that sarcastic? Like the fitness space needed more people like that? Like needed more teenagers talking about their lifting experience? Like that had to be sarcastic, right? Like they're literally a dime a dozen, you know what I mean? They're not even a dime a dozen, they're a dime for 100, you know.
very young guy interested in fitness and looking fairly good to serve the point. And at this point in fitness, like, that is truly valuable, right? For somebody to go viral for something outside of blasting steroids, doing gambling only, or really anything else, it takes a lot, right? To go viral with actual raw content that is genuine and not, some kind of party where you're showing everybody the recreational drugs that you use whilst blasting steroids. I mean, that is fucking hard to do. Basically, content without rage bait. I mean, that is rare these days. And then at some point, most recently, right, he's looked at the situation and been, the millions of followers that believed in me, that started to follow me for the purpose of me having this genuine journey and sharing it with them. Well, I'm looking at this and I don't think it's enough. I need to start blasting steroids. I need to start having these brands sponsor me, which are definitely affiliated with steroid using individuals. And the choice is obviously start blasting steroids and causing permanent biological damage that just does not need to happen. Now, there's this gravitational pull that happens when you get around a community of people, especially those using steroids. You see their results and it's really appealing, but you don't just see the results.
I'm going to pause the video for a second because there's an annoying plane. I live next to an airport and there's just planes that go above me all day long. So, okay, it's gone. But anyways, so I was going to say, you got to feel for the younger generation because of this whole gymflation thing. I'm lucky enough to where, I started going to the gym in the mid 2000s. So it was right before social media really took off. So it was before the whole Instagram gymflation epidemic where, you have 100 million guys on there all blasting tons of testosterone and trenbolone, getting sponsored by Gymshark. And then you think that they're natural because you're young and you're stupid and you're a teenager. And so, you're doing everything you can to try to look like that. Meanwhile, they're blasting, Anavar and Tren and Proviron and Clenbuterol, So, luckily I started before all of that bullshit. When I did this whole lifting as a high schooler back when the only high school kids who would lift would be football players. Nobody else my age lifted. I was just a weird kid who liked lifting, you know what I mean? But now it's a thing. Now it's the in thing, the cool thing that kids do. But they kind of do it ironically because they don't really, know what they're doing a lot of the times, and then they go in groups and then they distract each other and I'm not knocking on them. I'm not trying to shit on them at all because at least they're in the gym, and a lot of them probably do have a genuine desire to better themselves. So that's a great thing. But they're just misguided. It's so easy to be misguided today with social media. I mean, how do you even know who to listen to? There's so many different pages, so much misinformation, so much different information, so many different programs, so many people saying, take this supplement, take that supplement. Oh, you don't need any supplements at all. You need creatine. You don't need creatine. Oh, you know what? Take SARMs. They're not as bad as steroids, and you could come off of them. It's not going to shut you down. You might as well take steroids. It's not that bad. You could take a PCT. There's so much information out there, conflicting information that, you can go down literally one of a million different rabbit holes and wind up in totally different places, right? So there's this weird domino effect now where if you want to start lifting, it's your results are going to depend on, which rabbit hole you go down. Whereas back in the day when I was lifting, when I started when I was 13 or 14, mid 2000s, probably 2005, 2006, something like that. It was there were magazines or I could go online and there might be some niche sort of bodybuilding.com forum or you might find information, but it was a little bit more streamlined, right? It wasn't as shotgunned, spread out in terms of the information where you don't even know where to start. You know what I'm saying? And as far as supplements, I didn't even take any supplements and I got really good results. I was lifting, for 5 years, 4 or 5 years. I remember being a senior in high school and my friends came up to me one day and they were wondering hey, do you take creatine? And they were trying to figure out, like, if I take creatine, what brand I take. And I was like, what is creatine? Like, I didn't even know what it was, because, like, the only thing I knew about lifting was, like, go in, you know, do 3 sets of, like, 10 or however many reps that you have set out for yourself, and make sure that the last few reps hurt like hell. And then eat a bunch of food in between workouts and recover, right? And honestly, that's all you really need to know. Like, you just keep it simple, you know what I mean? But there's just so much bullshit out there now that overcomplicates things. And so, you know, if you're a part of this younger generation, it's kind of like, Jesus, man, like, where do you start? And then, like, you're comparing yourself to these, you know, if you're a 16-year-old kid and you're, like, on Instagram, you're trying to, you know, gain some muscle, and there's some 17 or 18-year-old, you know, kid with an Instagram with 1 million followers, and he has, you know, 6-pack abs with veins running through his abs because he's on test and trend, but you think he's natural. And then you look in the mirror and you might actually look decent, but you think you look like shit because you're comparing yourself to somebody on steroids. It's like, bro, what a fucking nightmare type of situation to try to, you know, navigate, right? Like, what, it's like a minefield, right? Like, the fitness industry these days, it's like a fucking minefield. How the fuck are you supposed to navigate through this as a kid starting out? It's so easy to go down the wrong path, so you got to feel for them.
See the positive side of their results, because they're going to tell you the positives, and you're going to see it in their reflection. You're going to see it in their community online. You're going to see it in the comments that they get. You're going to see it in the people that come up to them in the gym. And so once you get so far deep into that environment, it begins to seem normal. It begins to seem like the common path to take. It's essentially like this calibration drift. Your point of reference gets skewed, and now you're thinking of the guy who's blasting a gram of gear being normal and being basically the blueprint that you should likely follow. And especially at 16 years old, when your brain is highly plastic and you basically are really impressionable, how easy would that to be? I mean, like, surround yourself with hundreds of people, hundreds of different influencers telling you what to do, suggesting things, saying, hey, this might be a good idea. I mean, at some point you're going to...
So, look, the name of my channel is Real Talk 100, so I'm going to keep it real here. I'm not trying to knock on this kid, but, like, I don't really know why, like, looking at his physique, I don't know why he, at this point, has garnered as much attention as he has, because, like, he kind of has that, like, fat, swole look to him, you know? He's not, like, fat, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he kind of has that, like, bulky kind of, okay, you eat a lot of food, you do a lot of bicep curls, and, like, I just don't know, like, at this point, looking at it, maybe there's something I'm not seeing or I don't know about, but, like, just looking at, like, his physique at this point, like, I don't know why he's standing next to guys like Larry Wheels. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't even have abs, you know what I mean? And it's not like he's overly impressive. Like, it's great that he's in the gym, you know, not knocking him at all. But I'm just kind of confused, like, why at this point, with his physique progression, he's, you know, he's standing next to these people who are so high up in the fitness industry. Maybe it's just an effect of, like, the whole smoke and mirrors sort of social media setup that we have nowadays, where a lot of success with social media isn't really about merit or, like, accomplishing something, but more the smoke and mirrors, like, you know, the edits and the jump cuts and the music in the background and you know, just being flashy and attention grabbing and loud and obnoxious. Maybe, you know, that's how he gained his following, and then because he has a following, that's why he's next to these people. That's probably what I'm leaning toward believing. But yeah, anyways.
break. And we can tell this by the conversation that he had with Larry Wheels. The exposure there probably wasn't good.
I did become enhanced at 17. Is that something that you're willing to do in the future?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Whatever it takes?
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. That's the mindset I had.
But also, most collab...
For what? What's the point? Like, are you going to try to be a pro bodybuilder? Like, why are you going to try to be a pro bodybuilder? Like, you're not going to make any money, really, unless you're, like, the top dog. I mean, you already have a following, So I mean, you're already basically set for life because of your following. You could just stay natural and still be sponsored. You know what I'm saying? And make money. Like, what's the point of going on steroids? Because like you're just gonna shut down your natural testosterone production for life, especially when you start at a young age. Like, the younger you start, the more likely you are to permanently shut yourself down because your endocrine system hasn't completely developed yet. So if you start steroids at a young age like that, it's like you're halting the development of your endocrine system. And you're not just going to like restart that after 4 years of steroid use. You know what I mean? It's a lot better if you have to go down that path mentally. If for some reason you really want to do it, like, wait until you're at least 25, or like preferably 30, honestly. Like, you know, because then you have a fully developed endocrine system, you have a fully developed, brain chemistry, and you're more mature, and you can make decisions a lot more rationally. You know what I mean? Anyways, but then again, he's young, so he's misguided. So I totally get how, like I said earlier, like, it's easy to go down the wrong path, especially with this generation. They're taking steroids like candy, you know what I mean? So
operations he's done in which the individuals are taking steroids. Like, let's just be honest, a lot of the guys that he's collaborated with are not natural lifters. And he was asked if he was natural, and like, it's not even worth discussing because it's very clearly obvious that he is not natural. But he even said, like,
yeah, I mean, in this one, obviously he's on some shit. Like, now you can start to see, the bulk look, like he's on D-ball or something like that, test and D-ball. He has that water retention, swole, sort of bloated look to him. So, in other words, it's a female repellent. This is the type of look that will repel females. A female will look at this and be like, I need to run as fast as I can in the opposite direction. Oh man, you have no idea what you just did, bro.
I don't know, bro, ... like, a pause, and then, yeah. Like, you had to think about it, and it was almost as if he didn't want to lie, if he didn't want to say this. And for him, it makes good sense to lie, because I'm sure his parents aren't on the side of this. I'm sure that, legally speaking, he doesn't want to expose himself to a lot of this, as well as several sponsors that he has. I'm sure he doesn't want them to think differently of him outside.
Bro, you know what's crazy? Like, this whole time I've kind of had this like back thought, like, he has pretty good hair genetics. He's got the middle part, he's kind of like a bloated Leonardo DiCaprio. He's like a bloat maxed Leonardo DiCaprio. So I'm like, man, he has that hair genetics. But then I haven't gotten to it yet, but I guess he's gonna end up balding. So like, if he doesn't have that hair, then he's just a bloat maxed bald guy. Oh god, that's not good, bro.
Side of course, the one, Young LA, which seems to promote this kind of behavior. Now, when we're seeing this degree of muscular transformation, facial shifts, I mean, literally an entire person's architecture change through a few months. It's not creatine,
bloated
it's
Leo.
not GLP-1s, it's not any specific peptides, it is anabolic steroids. I mean, this guy has anabolic steroids written all over him. There's no way a 16-year-old looks this old and has this much fucking muscle just from doing a casual bulk. Based on what we're looking at, it's not TRT levels of testosterone. It's not 150, 100 milligrams of testosterone a week.
No.
In an educational perspective, this fucker's probably taking 400, 700, 800 milligrams of total androgen.
Yeah, I was going to say 400, 500, maybe more. Yeah, that's literally what I was about to say. Yeah.
In combination every single week. Now, the problem with this is his body is still under active development, not just physically, but also neurologically. And when you start to intervene with injectable androgens at this dose, at this early of a state, like, you are really, really diabolically so wreaking havoc on your entire body and neurological frameworks. Like, neurochemistry is completely shifting for the rest of your life because of what you're doing at such a young age. For one, these exogenous growth factors, or steroids, accelerate the basically growth plate closure. You essentially stunt your own growth. And
it's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside and open an account. When you're ready to record, just hit...
I'm ready for you to fucking die.
Every single week.
Fuck, dude.
Is his body is still...
Fucking hate commercials, bro. Fucking die.
under active development, not just physically, but also neurologically. And when you start to intervene with injectable androgens at this dose, at this early of a state, like, you are really, really diabolically so wreaking havoc on your entire body and neurological frameworks. Like, neurochemistry is completely shifting for the rest of your life because of what you're doing at such a young age. For one, these exogenous growth factors, or steroids, accelerate the basically growth plate closure. You essentially stunt your own growth. And this is problematic because we're not talking about someone who's just started at 25 or 30 years old. We're talking about somebody who's likely started at the age of 15. At that early of an age, I mean, this is preposterous. And
Bro, like, imagine, like, sacrificing 3 inches of height and your hair so that you can be a bloat maxed, like, ball of meat for like a few years as a late teenager. Like, you're imagine, like, sacrificing the two like factors that will contribute the most to your attractiveness to females so that you can be bloat maxed and impress other males in your late teens. Like, that's crazy, dude. That's insane.
And then you're dealing with cardiac problems, or the initiation of cardiac problems. Usually there's a really good equation here where you can dictate somebody's outcomes in life and their mortality by the length of time or length of exposure of anabolic steroids and dose exposure of anabolic steroids, right? How long have they been on, and at what dose have they been on? The higher the dose and the longer the time that they've been on throughout their entire career or life, the more risk that is going to be involved. And when you start this young and you basically force yourself to become dependent on exogenous hormones, the results aren't going to be good, and those architectural changes to cardiac tissues and circulatory function is going to wreak havoc in his 30s. You know, most men develop cardiac related issues, and this is one of the most common causes of death in men in their older ages. But when you start to accelerate things at such a young age, you are looking at a life that will be extremely shortened by the use of these things. And here's the thing. I know for a fact he is not getting proper guidance. I know for a fact he's not talking to people like me or Vigorous Steve or people who actually understand what's going on in the industry. He's very likely taking guidance from the people he's around, which are other, to be frank, belligerent and dumb as teenagers. And all the meanwhile, he's going to feel great in the gym. He's going to feel good. He's going to probably get an ego boost from this and mentally feel good. Like, he's genuinely, it's a very dopaminergic thing to run steroids. But the things that are happening that are deleterious are underneath, right? They're unseen. They're insidious. You don't necessarily get good indications. There's no check engine light, and this shit starts to happen. He's gotten millions of followers, more than I could ever imagine having, by being a natural guy, posting genuine and relatable content, to doing this. And I just can't understand the point behind it. I genuinely just can't.
Bloated Leo DiCaprio, bro.
And understand you had it all and you were so young. You have decades of a career in front of you where you could be raking in cash, and then you pull this. And, like, the bro does not look like he was born in 2010. That's right. You're feeling like an unk now because I fucking am too. He was born in 2010, and he don't look like it. He looks 30. He looks like an older man. And keep this in mind. This is just the start of all of this, right? What happens
Ouch, I'm an older man. Holy shit. Easy. Jeez, bro.
5 more years from now, what is he going to look like? Say goodbye to that fucking hairline, buddy. And I just can't help but wonder, hopefully there's somebody paying attention in Eric's life, a parent, a doctor, anyone, maybe even a coach that's doing comprehensive blood work, that's urging him to slow down, that's urging him to take consideration for other things outside of his immediate physique and his immediate outreach on social media, because I'm for sure certain that he doesn't understand the implications of these decisions. And this may be a situation. Eric English may be the guy that is running the most significant PED stack that we've ever seen at this young of an age. And what's messed up about it is these brands are sponsoring him, right? That Young LA knows his age. They know his age, they've seen his transformations, and they're writing him a check. And I'm sure they love the idea of this. They thrive off this kind of controversy because in every fucking video he's wearing their clothes. And we know for a matter of fact.
Yeah, I mean, these are demonic companies. I'm not religious, but, like, you know, just for all intents and purposes, these are demonic companies. So, they don't have any sort of moral code, moral compass. They don't give a fuck if their underage athletes are taking steroids and fucking themselves up permanently because, like you just said, yeah, they're going to sell product. And also, there's no such thing as bad publicity, right? All publicity is good publicity for a brand. So any sort of attention this is getting, even if it's negative, it's going to be good for them. So it sucks, but that's just the way it is, It is what it is.
That Young LA likes to sponsor people who have very questionable pasts, like animal abuse, for instance, but also, very clearly, steroid-abusing men. Really, any way you cut it, we're heading into depravity in the entire fitness industry. I mean, it really is sad for me to see.
I literally just made a video about that exact topic that he just said. Like, the fitness industry is, what did I say? I said it was dystopian. So he's saying depraved, same thing, basically, same message. It's dystopian, it's depraved, it's demonic, it's sociopathic. Yeah, if you want to get ahead, you have to cross over to the dark side, I think as a society, that's kind of how every industry is becoming. Like, they're like having integrity or like a moral compass is something that's going to be less and less profitable as our society as a whole becomes more and more demonic and depraved. And it's the whole Greece falling, Sodom and Gomorrah, blah blah blah, all those references that people use, but it's like a cycle. We have to go through it. We have to go through the rigmarole of becoming the shittiest people possible so that we can have a complete reset. We need to fall as a society so that we can build ourselves back up. But right now we're reaching the boiling point, but we're not quite there yet. So we're at the point where we're seeing shit's getting really fucked up in every industry. Not just the fitness industry, but the fitness industry, I mean, it's been fucked up for a while, but like now it's just so depraved because they're just normalizing, drugging these kids up to sell fucking clothes or to sell supplements, right? Like, it's just the norm now. They can't make these decisions adequately at 15 years old, 16 years old. Even at 25 years old, I would say you're not old enough. I'm 34. I am a completely different person than when I was 25. Like, when I was 25, I was basically the same as when I was 17, And it wasn't until I was like 30 or 31 that I actually started to feel like, oh, okay, I'm like mentally, I can kind of like piece things together now. I can make more rational decisions. Like, my entire 20s was like me just like being reckless and doing fucked up shit and like making really like fucked up decisions, you know what I mean? Not like screwing people over, but like I just mean like, decisions that did not lead me to any sort of positive net gain. They just held me back in life. And it wasn't until I was like 30 or 31 where I kind of started to get like a good head on my shoulders. So, I mean, let alone 15 or 16, and you have all this gymflation, which is basically just, again, you go on Instagram, you go on TikTok, there's nothing but, guys your age with the faces of male models, with the hair of male models, on, with the bodies that you can only get with the steroids. I mean, how the hell are you not supposed to like fall down the dark path? You know what I mean? Whew. It's fucked up.
Because it used to come from like such a genuine place, and now it's just turned into something that I think is wild, right? Like, it doesn't make sense anymore. Now it's sad for me to see because
Here, let's see what you said.
Really, any way you cut it, we're heading into depravity in the entire fitness industry. I mean, it really is sad for me to see because it used to come from like such a genuine place, and now it's just turned into something that I think is wild, right? Like, it doesn't make sense anymore. Like, how drugs are this supported in the community, and we know very clearly the deleterious outcomes that these things can cause.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, the advent of TikTok and Instagram just catalyzed this whole thing. Short form content, basically just being able to go viral overnight, the sensationalism, the glorification, the flashiness, the edits, the smoke and mirrors, making it seem glamorous, this type of a lifestyle. It's very easy to fall into that. And like when I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, I kind of fell into that, but I didn't take the dark path. I didn't take steroids, but I had the thought rolling around in my mind, and I thought that it was like the cool thing to do at times. I was like, gosh, that is kind of like a cool lifestyle, isn't it? But now that I'm older, I realize it's foolish. It's extremely foolish, especially if you do it at a young age. I think it's different if you start when you're like 30, because you have a fully developed endocrine system, and you can, make decisions more rationally, like I said earlier. But what he said too, about the fitness industry and this whole thing that's happening. Yeah, I mean, it's been evolving for a while. It's been evolving for a while. Like I said, ever since these social media platforms have become more and more normalized, since 2010, basically, you will see the rise in this depravity that he's talking about. So, yeah. I feel like I was going to say something else, but I can't really remember. I know I was going to say something else. But here, let me see.
We know how drugs are this supported in a community. It doesn't make sense anymore. Like how drugs are this supported in a community, and we know very into something that I think is wild, right? Like it doesn't make sense anymore. Like how drugs are this supported in a community, and we know very clearly the deleterious outcomes that these things can cause. And I'm not.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Okay. So I said this in my video about the fitness industry becoming dystopian. So like another reason that drug use is so prevalent is because there are a lot of these slippery slope drugs now. So you have like SARMs, you have peptides, you have all of these like quasi-natural, quasi-unnatural supplements that you can take. And so like let's say, you're starting out and you don't want to take steroids, so you take one of these other supplements. Well, a lot of the times these supplements are such that when you take them, it's kind of like you're a fourth the way toward taking steroids. Like you're already like taking a step into that direction. Or like if you take SARMs, it's like you're already like half a step in the direction of taking steroids. So it's like you might start with one of these other supplements, and then it's like battery's running low. Should be pretty much plugged in, right? Yeah, okay. So, it might start like that, but then you figure, well, you know what? I'm already halfway there. I might as well just go the full way. And then you take steroids, and there you go. You're already in it. You know what I mean? Whereas back in the day, when you didn't have all of these supplements, you didn't have SARMs, you didn't have these like quasi-natural supplements where you could like kind of like dabble in the supplement usage and kind of get a taste of what it might be like to take steroids. Like let's say 30, 40 years ago, you didn't have that option. Well, it's either like, it's more binary. It's like you're either going to be natural or you're going to go on, right? And so it's a little harder to make that decision. So I think that's another reason that a lot of these kids are slipping into steroid use. There's just so many supplements that will kind of guide you toward ultimately taking steroids. So especially when you're at a young, impressionable age like these kids.
An idiot, right? Like steroids are
Apparently you can go from 0 to a complete site in just a single prompt with Wix Harmony. I don't know if this is going to be possible.
You're going to be in a lot of harmony after I kick your ass, motherfucker.
One of the lesser
fucking hate these commercials,
bro. Take in a wide array of recreational drugs, but the fact that we're getting 15 and 16-year-olds on this shit already is something that is wildly concerning. And the bigger problem is almost not even as much as like Eric English doing this. It's that this content goes viral, and whose feeds are going to be exposed to this, right? It's the people that is most like the avatar you're watching. So, for instance, when you're taking a 16-year-old, the people who are going to be most interested in this content are likely going to be adjacent 16-year-olds. And what are they going to think? What are they going to want to do? Like, there is, to some degree, a certain amount of responsibility that you have as an influencer this big to the audience that you do have. And it may...
I mean, this right here, you know, like the girls and the dancing and the clothes and all. I mean, like, we're in the dystopia. We're in the depravity stage of society, right? Like, we're in the, like, we haven't had any, like, real war in a long time. We haven't had any real challenges as a country. We don't have to be strong. We don't have to create strong men. I know people hate that, you know, and I'm not even making this, like, you know, I'm not, like, right-wing or red pill or anything like that, but, like, I'm just saying it, like, factually speaking, like, we don't have to be strong. We don't have to create a strong youth, you know. We kind of just exist. And you know what they say, idle hands are, you know, the devil's playground, basically. So, like, that's essentially where we're at. You know, we're sitting around, you know, twiddling our thumbs with idle hands, and what happens is this, you know, we have the, you know, the girls and you know, the short shorts, the short skirts, and, like, you know, taking the pictures, and, you know, hopefully I get, you know, over 500 likes this time because I only got 450 likes and I cried myself to sleep. I'm only going to be happy once I get 500 likes, you know. And then the guys, you know, they're juicing up on steroids, they're taking Zins, you know, these, like, little nicotine pouches, they're vaping, you know, they got their weed pens and shit. And, like, by the way, I'm not against weed. Vaping, fuck vaping, like, that shit, like, if you're gonna smoke, be a fucking man, okay? Either smoke cigarettes or don't smoke, but don't do this vaping bullshit, okay? That stuff is just, it's so estrogenic, like, but, like, you know, I don't smoke, but, like, maybe, like, weed every once in a blue moon, but, like, these days, I mean, but I'm not against weed at all, but like, you know, they've normalized sort of all of these sort of substances that they feel they have to take to either fit in or to get ahead. Like, you know, in the fitness industry, they feel like they have to take steroids to get ahead. And when it comes to, like, smoking weed or vaping, they feel like they have to do this to fit in because all their friends do it, right? I saw a picture on Facebook that was shared, and it was like this one school showed, like, this stash of vape pens that they had. So it's probably a combination of, like, vapes and, like, weed pens. But it was like, it was just this huge like box. It was like, I think it was like several boxes. It was just a ridiculous amount, and it was one school, right? But we're talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of, like, pens, you know, and it's insane. Like, that's how normalized it is, right? It's, you know, and these things are horrible, by the way, hormonally. Like, they make you docile. Especially if you're a man and you're vaping, like, you might as well just get a sex change, because, like, you're just killing your testosterone levels and you're raising your estrogen levels. You're making yourself docile. You're making yourself, you know, just complacent and low energy and low focus. You're basically handicapping yourself when you vape, and to a great extent when you smoke weed daily, it's the same deal. Like, you know, I'm not against people who smoke weed. Like I said, like, shit, if Snoop Dogg came into my room right now, he's like, let's smoke a blunt, it's on, bro. Yeah, I got some, like, vodka up there, like, let's do this. Like, I'm not against it, you know, every once in a while, especially if it's with the right person, hell yeah. But, like, this daily smoking, like, every day, like, it's like you're handicapping yourself, especially as a man, you know, when you're supposed to be, like, high testosterone and aggressive and, like, you know, a go-getter and, like, you know, almost like angry, like, you know, just like, fuck, I need to get this done. But then you're gonna smoke weed all day every day, and it's like you're suppressing that, you're killing that, you know what I mean? Anyways, let's keep going. I think it's almost over.
amazes me how much that just gets thrown to the side in this current day and age, and how many people will take deals from basically any which company without considering the detriment of that choice, taking gambling deals and so on and so forth. It really is a shame. If I was Eric English, like, dude, you could capitalize off the audience you already have. I just don't understand the desire to do this. But at 16 years old, I mean, I couldn't say I would have made the smartest choice either. I just hope that he has good people guiding him, good people giving him advice, and hopefully he's not doing this in the dumbest way possible. But judging by the rapid transformation that he's had, he's not doing this lightly. This isn't a small dose. This isn't just a light little sprinkle of steroids. This is a pretty heavy cycle, is my assumption at least. And sorry this video wasn't necessarily diving into pharmacology as much and the intricacies of all that, but it's more just a video that kind of is just sad to see, because we already talked about this. And from the time we last spoke about it to his physique now, it's been like, what, 2 months, if that even? And
yeah, look at this dude. Like, look at him in this picture. Like, bloat maxed bloat lord, bro. Official female repellent. Like, if you look like this and like you go to the club, like, the girls are gonna go to the opposite side of the club. Like, they don't want, like, dude, this is like a chick repellent. It's a man magnet. Like, you're gonna magnetize men toward you, and they're gonna be like, bro, like, you look so swole, bro. Like, what do you do for your shoulders? What do you do for your fucking biceps, bro? But like, girls are gonna see this and they're gonna be like, bleh, and they're gonna be like terrified. Like, you do not want this look if you're a straight man, okay? You don't want this look, bro. Bloat maxed, bloat lorded Leo. Leo DiCaprio, bro.
his physique is already completely different. It's a wild thing. It is really a wild thing to be seen. I thought I was bad. I started steroids when I was like 21, and I thought that was like, whoa, we're pushing the boundary a little bit. But now, that looks like light work compared to most of these kids. Disclosure for those of you who aren't new here, I stopped taking them a long time ago, and that's partly why I make a lot of these videos. But hey, man, you know what? Bro's got to live it up if he's happy. Dude, I mean, the thing is what makes you happy at 16 is going to be a lot different from what makes you happy at 30. So, yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's very true. Like, see, here's the thing, there's this like there's this weird sort of sentiment that the young generation has, and I think it's kind of this way with every generation. You kind of feel like life is over after high school, or like life is over after like your early 20s, right? So like, you have to live it up. But you have to understand, like, once you're like 25 years old and your quote unquote life is over because you hit that threshold, you still have to be on the planet for another 50 years, on average, like, statistically speaking. And probably, since life expectancy is probably only going to go up, you're going to have to be on the planet for another 60 years. So you're going to have to be on the planet basically for 3 times longer than you've been alive. So what are you going to do? If your life is over at 25, then like, how are you going to spend the rest of your life, the next 60 years on this planet? Especially if you go this route of like, blasting all of these, chemicals and shit, and you completely destroy your testosterone production permanently. I mean, what are you going to do? You have to deal with that for 60 years. Not being able to like get your dick up, like, you're probably going to be bald. Girls are going to like think, they're going to view you as invisible. And so, like, let's say you get off the steroids. Now you're going to be all, like, skinny fat and floppy. And you're going to be bald from the steroids. And now you're invisible to females. Shit.
That's about all you can say with this kind of situation. And I just want to add here, the amount of hair loss that he's already had is diabolical. Like, I'm talking about him potentially losing hairline and saying bye to that in the future. But, like, looking at some of these videos, like, his diffuse thinning is actually kind of bad already. I mean, again, this is a 16-year-old. Even if he's in direct downlight, even if his hair is wet, it should be a pretty thick fucking head of hair right now. And we're seeing diffuse thinning already at an early age. So give it a year. Bro's going to have a hairline that is whacked back for sure. And just to kind of give you some context.
Especially him, because, like, I'm going to be honest, like, the only thing he has going for him is his hair in terms of, like, his ability to appeal to female to the female gaze, as they call it, right? Like, the only thing he has going for him is his hair. If he doesn't have his hair, he's just going to be like a bald max bloat lord, and he might as well just be on an island with nothing but men. All right, nothing but men that look like The Rock Johnson.
Your diffuse thinning is when your hairline doesn't necessarily get whacked back and you kind of have that typical receding hairlines with like a widow's peak. It's when your hair follicles evenly across your scalp basically fall out. And then over time, your whole head of hair becomes more thin. And so even in downlighting, like the center of your scalp will be thin, the front of your hair will be thin. It's probably one of the more severe and oftentimes less advantageous forms of hair loss that you can receive. And a lot of what you tend to see in actually anabolic steroid exposure.
As Hamoudi said, hair is life. If you have no hair, you have no life.
We're seeing it now, and the kid's 16 years old.
There you have it, kids. And brethren and sisters and adults and awesome people. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. We're only going to have more and more fun over time, so be sure to subscribe, especially if we get to 1,000. If we get to 1,000 subs, are you kidding me? I'm going to actually start trying. There's no point in trying before that, you know what I mean? Because it's like, am I wasting my time? I don't know. I get like 2 likes. I get like, maybe 1 or 2 likes on a video. I don't even know. But if I get to 1,000, that's when the real party begins. So subscribe.